Oh, cool. It says it.
Where do you see this?
On my screen.
We're now streaming live on Facebook. Look at that. I see at the top left. Hey, welcome. Karl Monger with GallantFew. We decided earlier we were talking about information flow. And there's three main things that GallantFew does, right? Number one is we connect people. And number two is we share lessons learned. And the third one is I like to believe that we're leaders in the veteran space. So when you combine all of that together, I thought who better to get together than this group of GallantFew leaders and just have a discussion about this ongoing pandemic crisis in our country, about lessons learned that you guys might be experiencing. We got two in North Carolina. We got two in the Dallas area. Your experiences are way different than my experiences right now. And then let's talk about ways that people that are at a female veteran earlier today that pinged us on Facebook that said, hey, I live alone and now I'm isolated and I'm going nuts. So what are some strategies to deal with that and how do you deal with it, right? So I just open it up. I think we all have equal access here to talk and jump in, and I'm going to keep us in the Brady Bunch view mode so everybody can see the entire group that's here. And if we get, because I'm new at this, I'm not sure how the chat thing works. If we get anybody that out there that could want to send a message, I don't know if I'll see that in the webinar or if I'll see it on Facebook. So we just have to kind of all work together and see how this goes. Sorry about lessons learned that you guys might.
I'm monitoring the Facebook channel, so whoever's got Facebook on, make sure it's muted. Either choose one or the other.
Wasn't me because I got headphones on.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
Not
Good
me.
old
I learned my
technology.
lesson. I learned my lesson before this.
Awesome. Okay, so well, let's go around the horn, and everybody hasn't probably seen all four of us together in one forum, right? So I'm Karl, GallantFew, Army veteran. That way on my screen is Nick. So Nick, I'll toss it over to you.
I'm Nick. I'm the director of the Raider Project, also with GallantFew.
And it is like the Brady Bunch.
Which way is it going? I got a different screen than y'all. Nick's pointing down, but
Bryce Mahoney, Army veteran, part of GallantFew.
I'm Zach Sabalos, served in the Marine Corps, and I'm the veteran support specialist for GallantFew.
All right, so I'm going to try and monitor messages. So you guys talk amongst yourselves for a minute so I can figure this out.
And I think your question was more on what people are trying to start to do as they get stuck at home, the quarantined or social distancing. Honestly, I feel like this is the first week we're really like into it. Last week was kind of this dream or this nightmare of like, oh my God, what is happening? I guess we'll just stay home. And I feel like a lot of people over the weekend were just like, yeah, let's stay socially distanced. And when I wake up Monday morning, like rush hour traffic will be there and fights at the grocery store or taking my kids to school. And it hasn't happened yet. And I think slowly but surely people are going to realize like, oh, wow, this is really kind of serious. And we're then going to catch up to it. So that's kind of how I feel about today. I feel like today is a pretty big day for society or the world, really.
What is it? The whole lemonade out of lemons or whatever. But to the veteran that's isolated in their home, every single one of us has a list of things that we wanted to accomplish. Like, we're going to write this thing, or we're going to make a video, or we're going to write a blog or start a website. There's a million things that we all have on our list that we all want to accomplish. And all of a sudden now you find yourself at home isolated with really nothing to do. I mean, think about how much you can get done. Like if you don't have goals, then maybe that's a time to start writing some goals down. Why, like if I literally had an entire week at my house where I couldn't get out and I had to stay there, you guys all know me, but I would get a lot of shit done. If I couldn't like go engage, I didn't have to manage businesses. I literally am just stuck in the house, kind of like Karl is now. There's a lot of things that we can get done as long as the internet doesn't get turned off, which that might be a separate thing. But you know, if you've got those goals that you've been putting off, now's the time.
Hey, we're going through a transition process now, right? Because we're transitioning from this period where we go anywhere, do anything, see anybody, to now you got to stay, in our case, we got to stay home. And the
Yeah.
only time that you go out is if you absolutely positively have to have groceries, medical supplies, or you got to go to the doctor. Other than that, you don't go. I mean, it's a change, because earlier today I opened up my refrigerator and I'm like, oh, I'm getting a little low on club soda. I'm gonna have to run over to I can't do that. I can't run over to the grocery store, right? So I want to take just a quick minute and talk maybe about the seriousness. Man, Bryce, your knees are huge. Is that your knee? I hope that's your knee.
That's my knee.
Okay.
That's the
So-
good old knee.
So now, man, made me lose my train of thought. So I want to talk about the seriousness of this, because a friend of mine the other day said, I think this was on Saturday, he went out to a local grocery store in the Dallas area, not in Dallas itself, but in one of the surrounding communities. And he saw some people that he knew, and he said, yeah, I went over to him and I was giving him hugs and high fives. And I said, no, that is absolutely the wrong thing to do. And he's like, what? You know, this is, I'm not going to get sick from this. I'm not worried about that, right? They're all healthy. I'm not worried about them. And a couple examples I used, one is Kevin Bacon came on the other day and did a short little video, you know, the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, right? You can connect almost everybody in the world at some point.
Josh Kelly.
Kevin Bacon, right? Yeah. So we're all like 2 degrees away. And when you start talking about coronavirus, when you see a 1 degree separation, and then that person sees a 1 degree and that person sees a 1 degree, it could go out 5, 6, or 10 degrees from you. And that virus could be passing through all of these people with zero effect. Or maybe you get a little bit of a head cold and you cough for a week. And then it hits somebody's grandmother, or it hits somebody that has asthma, or one of the other preconditions that they talk about, you know, being an issue. And then that person's dead. And that's why in this area, they are being so draconian now about forcing us to stay shut off from each other, because we have to stop that spread, because we already know people got it. We know people in this community got it. We know people in this community are going to produce positive for it probably today, tomorrow, the next day. But the Texas governor did a press conference at 3 p.m. yesterday, where he very eye-opening graphs up on the screen. And one of them was, hey, if we don't do anything, if we just go about our lives as normal over the next 2 to 3 months, what's the death rate in Texas going to be? And it was like 700,000 people. Okay, so if we do social distancing and we try to keep our space, you know, but we still go out and kind of live our lives like normal, what's the impact? Over the next couple of months, 400,000 deaths in the state of Texas. If we shelter in place, if we don't go out unless those 3 things I said, absolutely for food, medical supplies, or to see a doctor, then we could limit it to 5,000 deaths. And it's not that those people aren't going to get it. They're still going to get it. But now what they're trying to do is they're trying to stretch the curve out, because if it passes rapidly through this community, the curve's going to spike up like this. And I think in my county, I saw something that said all the combined hospitals have 700 respirators available. If 5,000 people are in dire need in this county of respirators, and there's only 700, then who gets to pick who the 700 are that gets respirators? And the other 20, do Ranger math here, 3,700 people, 47, whatever it is, 4,300 people, they're going to die. Right. So we have to push that out. So that's why it's so important that we maintain this, especially in the places where it is spreading, like in the Dallas area, like wildfire. We got to stay home. You can't take the risk of being exposed to somebody else, because you don't know how many people down the line are going to get hit. So given all that really super cheery news, right? The reality is that I think most people that get it, the symptoms are going to be pretty mild. From the things that I've seen on the news, that's just my own personal take on it. But so now the reality is, Nick was saying it's basically life as usual where he is. Bryce went out and did a police call along the highway yesterday. He said there's as many people out. as normal. You come to where Zach and I are, and you go outside, and it's like a movie, right? It's like a zombie movie. There's nobody out. And so now some of us are stuck at home. What do we do? How do we stay in our routines? I'm going to shut up here in a minute, because I can, once I get a ball and start running with it till somebody tackles me, I'll just keep on going. But like today, I'm off my routine. I didn't get up and work out early because I didn't need to, right? I knew that I had a conference call with Bryce at 8:30, so I could kind of watch the news, relax at 6, and then answer some emails, and then I'll grab some breakfast, and I don't even have to shave or shower today because, I'm not doing anything important. And then at 15 minutes before this is getting ready to start, I'm like, crap, I didn't even shave today. I haven't taken a shower. So now I got to run and do my personal maintenance and catch up on. I'm off of my routine, right? So how many people are off of their routine right now? All they're doing is watching Netflix or playing video games nonstop. And what's that doing to us? All right, I'll be quiet.
Zach, since you haven't said a word, why don't you get something in? This is Zach.
You better be on your routine. That's all I got to say.
What'd you say, Nick?
I said, if Karl's slacking off, Zach better be on his damn routine.
Man, I'm trying to, man. I've been getting like some stuff done for GallantFew and whatnot. And then Karl cracks whip occasionally. I'm like, oh shit, nope, I'm still doing it.
He's cracking the whip. He's still in his bathrobe. He hasn't shaved or worked out or nothing.
He just changed his shirt before
a bathrobe.
Ball, that's why.
I'm not going to stand up.
No, no, I think this is a time to definitely to make sure that you can adapt. Because I know, like Nick, you mentioned with your businesses and whatnot, you have to be outside your house a little bit to get things done. And if the internet goes down, I think a lot of us are going to be that's going to cut all the social media. It's going to cut all the streaming services and whatnot. So I think it's pretty wise to adapt. Not so much with electronics, but as far as your routine, okay, you can't work out, and maybe you can't. Karl, you love to go ride your bike. You can't do that. Nick, you like to go out and work out at your gym. Bryce, you like to go out and wear ranger underwear and climb mountains.
Work out outside like I normally do.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think it's something that, there's ways that we got to learn to adapt to what we can do here in home, especially where Karl and I are. We have to be inside. We don't have the ability to go out right now.
Yeah, and that's something. I'm glad you said that, and I'm glad, Nick, you talked about it, and I want to come back to this because whether if your job was at somewhere and now you are forced to be at home, like that is an abrupt change to your everyday routine, driving, eating, everything. But when you're a already remote worker, like a business owner or somebody that either works from their home or spends a lot of time in a place where all of their businesses are, your schedule, while it didn't change per se, because you can do what you do at home, but the whole logistics network, like the rest of this chain of yours, has been disrupted somehow. Like Nick, I want to go back. Like you're not all systems go right now. Like I'm sure there are some parts in your logistical system, maybe not internal to the company, but like people that you work with and operate with, those are affecting your businesses. And I feel like
definitely
we take for granted, like, oh, well, all the people that are working at home already, like, well, hey, this is affecting us too, because being at home and then being able to do things was also part of our routine too. We just happen to not go anywhere doing it.
We also just actually were discussing courses of actions in the event that it gets even worse. Yeah. You got to look at, if you're looking at small business across the thing, we'll get back to routine because I got some stuff I want to say on that, but that Zach said. But if you look at small businesses across the nation, this could get real scary because there's a lot of businesses that are month to month, and they have a sales goal and they have to meet it so they can pay rent on the next month. And we even have a couple of those, but what happens when that faucet gets turned off? Mm-hmm. You're talking about, and now you have employees there. So you want to talk about second and third order effects of what it could do to the economy across the board, across the entire, in small businesses everywhere, and
it's a very scary thing.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I got off the phone today with a friend of mine, and she works at, I don't want to say the company right now, but she went to work and this is their first day that they got back to work after a couple of days due to the quarantine, and they just had a mass layoff. Nobody got fired, but it was just a mass layoff. They're not making any money. I'm not a business owner like Nick or Bryce or Karl. And so the fact that I mean, there's a financial stake here that it's kind of, that's, if it's the epidemic itself isn't worrisome enough, you have the financial portion of it all. Now that family is basically out of a job, out of funds or whatnot. So I think it's not so much of an epidemic regarding personal health and safety, but also of just overall well-being financially. And
yeah, there's layers to it. There's definitely layers to it. But on that routine, if you're in the individual that is stuck in the house, like, it is so crucial. Like, I love the apocalypse movies or even like the prison movies where they wake up and then they've got a workout routine, they've got a reading routine, they've got a yard routine. Like, it is like, how do you think that people survive in those type of environments for years on end, right?
mm-hmm.
The only way to do that mentally and stay mentally sane is to have the discipline to, like Karl, not sleep in or not get up and blow off your workout. I mean, it's crucial. Like, for me, I know that my brain and my body works well that if I maintain a certain routine, and most people have that just naturally, right? But in this situation, it's even more crucial to maintain that scheduling throughout your day. And maybe you don't go to work, like you were saying, like Bryce, normal people, like, you get up, you have a logistical thing that you go to work. Well, you can still have the same thing. Now we're talking about all the goals that you have. Wake up, set your alarm, wake up, do your, morning mobility, that the most of us, people that need that sort of thing, you know what I mean? Because you don't move, make your coffee. Amazon's still running, you know what I mean? So you can still have your normal stuff, but set those things in play, and then almost like have your calendar from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Your hour blocks are done. I'm going to read for this hour. Lunch is this time. My morning mobility is here. My afternoon PT session is here. And then, 5 o'clock, we make dinner, and then it's Netflix time.
What you're talking about is it's the entire concept of being intentional.
Right.
Because what happens, what causes you to start downsliding in your life? It's you don't plan what you do. And now that your work routine is taken away, or whatever other routine, or your social activities, places that you go, those are all now off limits to you. If you don't replace that with an intentional routine, then bad things are going to happen. I mean, whether it's a decline in your health or whatever. Yeah.
You're going to start feeling sorry for yourself. And I love, like, years ago, I mean, I think this was like 2014, Karl, you told me. It might've been right after that, but you get somebody that's like, man, I'm super depressed. Woe is me. And I remember you saying, okay, so what are you doing about it? Well, nothing. I'm just sitting on the couch. Maybe that's a freaking problem. So yeah. So if you take the time, if you say, oh God, I can actually use some self-quarantine. I'm so stressed out and worn out of work and life. And then you find yourself on, at a week at the house, and in a weekend, you're like, man, I'm super depressed. I'm going crazy. Well, what have you been doing all this week? Have you bathed? Have you got out of your pajamas, or you've been wearing sweatpants and a bathrobe for a week, binge watching whatever's on television? Well, yeah, no shit that you're going to start having some weird side effects of that.
I think also,
and that's why it's super crucial, like you said, to be intentional about your day.
Like, to kind of go off of what Nick was saying, how, and obviously what Karl said years ago to Nick, how, you have a veteran and they're saying, well, I'm depressed. And Karl can say, well, what are you doing now? Oh, I'm not doing anything. I'm sitting down. I think this also is an opportunity for obviously growth, but at the same time, I think this could be a factor that can help veterans feel like they are losing more of their purpose. Well, I felt already shitty to begin with. Now we have this quarantine. Now they're saying I can't go meet out, can't go out and do things with veterans. So I think now you have the ability to shift your point of view and your perspective. So instead of saying, well, now I can't do shit because I had to stay inside. And I think that's something where you can restructure your routine and your lifestyle exactly with something like what Nick said, as far as, okay, from at 8 o'clock, I'm waking up at 9:30, I'm going to go work out. Here's my block schedule of what I'm going to do throughout the day, maybe even throughout the week. And so I think right now that with your time of either quarantine or isolation, whatever you want to call it, I think this is almost like the perfect time, despite the negativity out right now. I think this is a perfect time for that veteran, or just for the individuals, groups, families, whatever, to set themselves up to become successful, especially not only right now, but once this epidemic is over and we're done with it. So I think right now you have the time to yourself to set up the lifestyle that you want going forward, if that makes sense.
Hey, Bryce, question for you in terms of physical workout plan. How do you, I got a comment from Dr. Q who says, gents, you're doing exactly the form and function to reach out and connect. This platform is a good one for. Appreciate your comment. One of the things, before I get back to Bryce, one of the things that we're trying to do here is we're going to give this a try this week. Every day this week, same time, same place. We're going to come together. It may be all four of us. It may be a couple more in additional. It might just be a couple of us. But someone from GallantFew is going to be on this forum, on this platform, going live. And my watch does not need to answer me because I didn't ask it a question. And we'll be here just talking about life and the things that are going on through the crisis that we're in. And I also want to get into a discussion about how veterans can be leaders in their community and set the example. But so watch for this. Today's the first time we've done it. We've got some growing pains. We're trying to learn our way through this and make sure that we're able to get questions answered and that people can give us feedback. I'm not exactly sure how that whole process is working right now. So back to my question then for Bryce. You're stuck at home. Zach lives in an apartment complex, probably can't go to his apartment gym because coronavirus bugs all over the place, right? So what do you do for a fitness plan? How do you start putting that kind of thing together? I give you the easy question.
Yeah. I mean, that's I think the easiest question that we can, I mean, especially if you're a veteran, you have zero excuse about PT. You have zero excuse to know what you're supposed to do. I mean, you can literally do a perfect workout right in your living room in front of your Netflix binging scenario. I mean, hell, you could put Roxanne on the radio and do air squats every time you hear the term Roxanne, and do push-ups every time you hear the word red light. I mean, if you're having trouble figuring out what to do for fitness, man, maybe don't store things on the top shelf so they hit you in the head, all veterans out there. But I mean, it's as simple as body weight exercises. There are plenty of resources out there to show what proper body weight exercises look like. And look, if you're overweight, if you haven't worked out in a while, there is no shame in doing push-ups on your knees. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be Olympic level. It doesn't have to be anything crazy other than push-ups, core work, do things around the house. Exactly what Nick said at the beginning. There is a honey-do list that is just getting longer by the second of you being at home. And there's plenty of things to do that will give somebody the right amount of physical activity that they need. Now, if you're a bodybuilder, if you're somebody that focuses on different muscle groups and things like that, then I suggest people looking around in their house for items that would replace basic fitness apparatuses. I mean, heck, we did that where we were deployed. I mean, think about how many like cinder block, barbell, dumbbell things. Heck, I walked in on my first platoon sergeant in the tent doing like 4,000 arm curls with a hooligan tool. Everybody that was in Pakistan with us, he was standing right in the middle of the tent too. It was crazy. Nobody even messed with him. It was just like, let him do his thing. And he did 4,000, like straight up Will Ferrell. But there are really a lot of ideas out there. And I got to tell you, the one thing that keeps me motivated to work out, even somebody that like lives fitness, is knowing that the other guys that I work out with every Monday and Wednesday and Friday are doing the same thing at home. They're maintaining that level, and when we get back together on our Mondays or on our Wednesdays, I'm not going to be the guy that slows down the run. I'm not going to be the guy
huffing and puffing
because I sat on my ass for the last 2 weeks. So it's the importance of having somebody to hold you accountable too. I mean, my friend Noel that I climb with, you know, I've been trying to get him out to F3. And I mean, like right when I told him is when this pandemic thing happened. And so all the workouts have been shut down. But he texted me yesterday, hey man, what are you doing at home? Like, and I told him, this is what I normally do at a workout. This is probably what I'm going to normally do at home too. And he's like, great, I'm going to do it too. So I'm going to text him every Monday, Wednesday, Friday when I do it, say, hey, have you done it? You know, it's all about the accountability. I mean, heck, even Arnold Schwarzenegger had to be convinced to go to the gym some days. He'll tell you, you know, so get a group, come back, be intentional about it, going back to our intentionality about everything, and pick up where we've already left off. I mean, that's, you know, the what I think is easy. The how is really the
one of the
hardest.
things that, and a lot of people say, well, I can't do cardio. I don't have any cardio machines. And this is just a tip. And when we were in Afghanistan, I used to do this so much that it ended up on my paddle, my going away paddle. When I got out, I would get 245 plates, like the bumper plates. And that's probably like, I don't know, 10, 12 inches, you know, tall. But for 45 minutes to an hour, I would do step ups on these dang 45s. And if you want a good cardio workout of standing in place and a little bit of mental torture,
Hey,
put some music on and you can be right there, just up and down, up and down, up and down, and you will freaking wear yourself out.
Hey, in my garage today, I did burpees with 15-pound hand weights.
The person that says you can't do cardio,
the cyborg hip over here.
The person that says you can't do cardio standing, the person that says you can't do cardio standing still obviously has not done 4,000 of these.
Yeah.
You know, like as somebody that suffers from a lung disorder, like already, like walking up the stairs to my office back and forth is a cardio workout to me. So we you know,
that's what I want to report on. I want to report on that, Bryce. I want to know how many times and how many times and how much time you ran stairs to your office.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to know how long you did that.
It'd be a lot.
30 minutes. I want 30 minutes to straight up and down.
30 minutes AMRAP.
Yeah.
All right, I got a question for Zach. So Zach is a single dad, 100%, like 110,000% custody of his daughter.
I thought you said 100,000 single.
That too, very much. Yeah. This situation ain't helping his social life any, that's for sure. So you live in an apartment, so it's a small area. You have an elementary school daughter. Holy cow. You have, right, you don't have unlimited entertainment options. You also have a big dog that lives with you.
Yeah.
So what are you doing to maintain your sanity? What are you doing to work with your daughter, and what kinds of things? It's got to be very difficult on her, right? Because she can't just go play with friends or run down to the playground or that kind of stuff.
Right. And maybe Bryce, you want to double tap on this because I know that you're in a similar boat. Your mouth is dropping open. I can't see it. It's too small. But anyways, no, I think my daughter and I think it's not only about balancing out everything. I think it's about blending as well. So when it comes to some type of physical fitness, sometimes her and I we'll knock out some push-ups together, or we'll just do things that can help me exercise, but at the same time, it's letting endorphins run. It's we're kind of spending a good time together in a positive light. At the same time, there's times when like I'm doing these kind of things and she's inside her bedroom playing. And so we're able to balance that out really well. I feel like we're doing, I mean, so far we've lasted and haven't killed each other in the last, week and a half or so. And so I think we're doing pretty well. Yeah, she does get a little, cabin fever or stir crazy because, she sees outside, want to go. And I think we have like a 200-meter limit roughly, but we'll go outside, that we know that the little area that we're at, it's safe. We're not around a lot of people. We could take our dog and allow him to go outside. So we definitely find our time to, get a little bit of physical fitness in, spend time together. A big thing that I like to do is that, I learned on a Raider Project retreat a few years ago was meditation. And from that, I know all of us still do it to this day. I mean, maybe more than others, but I think that definitely helps me keep some of my sanity for sure. It can be easy just to stare at the wall and watch the paint dry and go crazy in my mind. But, to kind of incorporate the GallantFew star, you have the ability to choose a response to this situation, right? So are you going to go crazy and just be real shitty to yourself, to your staff, your teammates, whatever? Or are you going to find a way to be productive and be proactive and, the silver lining and all this? And so I think a big thing for that is meditation for me that helps out a lot. And also same time, you have how many people here are quarantined in their homes, apartments, doesn't give a townhome, a house, doesn't matter. But you have internet, you might have a smart TV, they connect, and you can do in-home yoga. You can do in-home meditation. You can do so many things, an in-home workout program that we don't even know about that might, involve a pot and a pan, but yet you can do it. I think when you're able to incorporate all of that into your routine, you're going to basically prevent any insanity. Now, the parental thing, I think that's a completely different aspect because she drives me insane on a
You do the best that you can.
Yeah. Thanks, Nick.
You do the best that you can. I have teenagers now, so I don't even know where my kids are.
We'll cut that out of the
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to what we've been saying. It's intentionality. We have intentional things that we go through in the day. I mean, these kids, especially once they go to school, like they have intentional periods of time, and we need to keep those intentional periods of time going as long as possible. Whether it's intentionally telling them that they have 30 minutes of screen time in the morning when they wake up, just to kind of like get the day going, and then some reading time and things like that. I'm thankful. Just like this technology we have, my kids' school, their charter school, like as soon as the school shutdown started happening, they already started thinking about like, how do we use Google Classroom and all these online tools, and using this particular format and these connectivity, this way to connect as to benefit. So now it's on us as parents to say, okay, do we make sure we have the access to it, to see what they're doing, to reinforce that learning for them, but then also intentionally scheduling, hey, get the heck out of my hair, go to your room, go to your phone, like just go do something else other than be around me. And like, I know that we're going to flex a little bit on our standards as far as how much time kids have for screens. I have a monetary system that I've developed with my kids that they get a $60 funny money allowance every time they come to my house, which pays for screen time, it pays for movies, it pays for desserts. Like they work to get more money. They do chores to work for their $60.
I like that.
Yeah. I mean, and any parent wants to know in depth about this monetary system that I've kind of developed with my kids, I'd be more than willing to share. Maybe we can talk about it on an episode, but it's truly the show.
Sounds like you need to write a book about it.
It's a delayed gratification. I mean, somebody already has read the book. His name is Dave Ramsey. And I'm really just trying to teach my kids delayed gratification and what money means in time. But all that to say, we're going to flex. We're going to stretch our limitations here. And it's having that intentional time, using Jocko Willink again. Discipline equals the freedom. Like if we discipline ourselves to make sure that we're staying on track with our kids and then giving them the freedom that we honestly want to, I think is how we manage this kind of thing. And, I'm excited to pull out the board games. I'm getting stuck on the social media and on my phone just as much as everybody else is. It's easy, it's convenient, it's alluring, to know what's going on, to always be connected. But I'm glad that my cabinet with my Scrabble and my Monopoly are over there going, hey, they're calling our names, and I'm just the worst part about it is we had a group kind of get together going tonight with some other climbing families, and it got canceled because of this. And it's just like a shame, man. I was really looking forward to playing games and with these other couples and stuff like that. And I think that's, that just adds to the frustration of it all. But I think it just comes back to intentionality. So
when it comes to routine, like we were talking about veterans and this and that, and people being isolated, I know I struggle with this also because, internally we have our own life and we've got our own people that we have to check on, our own families that we're managing. But how many of you and how many people watching are like, I really need to check in on so and so. I'm wondering how so and so is doing. I wonder how this family is doing. I wonder how this family member, my friend, my sister, my brother, my cousins, whatever. But like, can't in your intentionality, in your routine, can you set aside time to where you're like, this hour or this 2 hours, I'm gonna brew a pot of coffee and I'm gonna spend the next 2 hours just checking in with any people that I don't typically have a daily relationship with anymore. Somebody I really care about.
Well, think about using this platform, a platform like this, right? So anybody can go get a free Zoom account, and you got to keep your calls to like less than a half an hour or something like that. But
I mean, there's so many. There's FaceTime. There's Google. There's Facebook.
You can use exactly. But to me, there's power in being able to see the other person, and it at least mimics some of that connection that you don't get when you're talking on the telephone. So let's encourage people to start doing more video chats. And when you, like you said, Nick's brilliant. Who have you thought about how they're doing? Send them a text and say, hey, FaceTime in 5 minutes, or, get your pants on. We're going to, I want to Zoom you.
Karl, get your pants on.
I'm not standing up. But that's the power that I'm wearing pants, but I won't stand up. Nick, I wanted to go back to something because I've heard you talk about it, and I think you might have even written about it in your book. And that was, who's your real team, right? And when you're on active duty, you sometimes confuse who your real team is, right?
Yeah, we talked about it in the marriage seminar.
Yeah. So you want to talk a little bit about that now, because you are stuck with your real team probably more than you have been in a long time.
Yeah, and this goes really into the, I guess, the military and first responder world, right? We get so, it's a, I don't want to say an institutional thing. It's a cultural thing within our identity and what we do. The Rangers, like, I mean, you two know, like, when you're in the Ranger community, those are your people, right? Like that, your squad, your platoon, that's your team. And most veterans, when they get out, will end up wanting to be deployed with that team than being home. And we've heard that. We've all four of us have heard that a million times. Like, man, I just wish I could go back on deployment. If I could go back on deployment, all my problems would be solved. I would feel better, and things would all be normal. If I could just go back and be with my platoon or my team, I would feel better. But I'm not. I'm at home with my wife and kids, so I feel shitty. Here's what's really bad about that whole situation is that whole thing is, why we all appreciate those teams and we appreciate those team members, for those of us that are on the other side of active duty, know that all of that allure and thought process is essentially bullshit. And I don't mean that it doesn't mean something, but when you get out, and any veteran that's watching knows this, is it all just kind of fades away. And like, well, I only talk, and I've had those two guys too. Like, I only talk to recon guys. My only friends are recon Marines. Okay, pal. But at the end of the day, all those people, the phone stops ringing, and we've all experienced that the phone stops ringing, and the people that you were putting off this whole time are the people that you wanted to leave to go back on deployment, are the ones that in 40 years are going to be wiping your ass and changing your clothes and feeding you mashed up apples. Like, the people, the people that actually care about you, your kids, your family, your significant others, your cousins, the people that have supported you in your endeavors, whether it be law enforcement, first responder, whatever it may be. They supported you. They were proud of you this whole time. And while you thought they were just this extra thing that you had attached to you, but your real team, the ones that you wanted to die for, were all in the military. that's not really accurate. The true team, the real people that are standing there waiting you and holding banners, that have been holding banners waiting for you to come home, those are the people that really count. Those are the people that really matter. And those are the people that now you get the chance to actually, now that you're quarantined with them, develop those relationships, develop those times, build that into your routine. You know, like one of the things that Allie and I do, because we're so busy, and I might even have fodder on it with a little bit. But we did this years ago, and it just became, because things started getting so crucial, is we had our internal planning meetings. Now it sounds super logistical, but we, on Monday mornings, we would sit down with our little notebooks and our journals, and we would go through like what we need to get done for the day, or what we need to get done for the week. Where is she going to be? What do I have? What do I need to get accomplished? How can we support each other? How can I help her with her task? What do I need from her to help me accomplish my task? But that breaks down that communication. That's the team that matters for me. I love all you guys, but at the end of the day, I'm going to choose her over you guys every day.
And I'll tell you right now, from I've got one daughter that lives in the Colorado Springs area and one that lives in New York, and it's scary as hell having a daughter in her early 30s that lives in New York and has a job that works with the public. So she's been on quarantine because of potential exposure for a week now, and that you just think, I wish that I could be there right now. I wish that I could be helping her, that she could be here.
Are you doing daily video phone calls with her?
We've been to do a video call because I have not done that. I've done some video calls with my 6-year-old grandson who's in Colorado, and I need to do it the other way. So yeah, thank you for that. What do we need to do leadership wise in our local communities? Well, thinking about how do you take care, and again, for people that are joining lately, I see we got Jay is on, Paula is on, Sarah Bonner's on, Alexa is on, Juan is on. We got some other folks. I appreciate y'all watching on Facebook, and we're still trying to figure out how to get questions and pull people into this. And maybe during this week, we can kind of go offline after this, do a Slack message and see who can we invite that we can bring into this conversation tomorrow. And maybe we can bring in a special guest every day the rest of this week to just talk about the kinds of issues that we're talking about. But getting back on the leadership side, there are so many different circumstances that are going on right now. And just like when you're leaving the military and you're going through things that you think are incredibly personal to you and are individual experiences, it's not so individual because there's all these other people that are going through it as well.
You're not a special butterfly.
You're not a special butterfly, but also that different people's experiences are different, right? Because you've got people in your office there. I see some folks that are running around. We're in the zip code that Zach and I are in. It's essential services only. If you don't sell groceries or you're a first responder, you're not allowed to go anywhere else except for food, medicine, or to go to the doctor. So there's different perspectives across the country right now of what's going on. And in Dallas, the governor even said yesterday in Texas that there are nearly 250 counties in Texas that don't have any known infections, that nobody's got it out there. So, and then you have places like Dallas, Houston, the big population centers where it's just skyrocketing. So what do we as veterans do? How do we reach out to other people locally? So we talked about doing some electronic stuff where we're video chatting with some of our buddies and families. But what about people that live next door to you? Like Zach, you've got right, left, up, and down probably in your apartment. Somebody around there's somebody elderly that probably lives close. That's a huge risk factor for corona, right? Maybe they don't have any other family. Think about Larry, the veteran that lives not too far from you, right? So may not be able to get out and get groceries, maybe too scared to go out. I think that we need to be reaching out. I stuck a note in the mailbox of one of my elderly neighbors a couple of days ago that just had my name, my address, my mobile phone number. And I said, hey, I live across the street. If there's anything that you need, you just call me and let me know, and I will leave it on your doorstep. I think we need to be thinking, those of us that are in true, like shelter in place or the social distancing is really super being enforced. We have to take that on and start encouraging other people around us to do the same thing. Comments or
Yeah,
ahead,
I'd
Zach.
like to say something about that. So, I mean, right now we have, if you think about it, go back almost about 19 years ago, 9/11, right? We had 9/11, horrible, tragic event. Both towers came down along with other buildings and some other events. Lost a lot of people, unfortunately. But right after that day, what happened? People supported each other. People were proud to be Americans. People were buying flags left and right, supporting small businesses, even the larger businesses and entities. I think right now we're kind of at a 9/11 moment. But I think not only as veterans or within the GallantFew staff, but I think as just Americans overall, we have the ability right here to come together to make sure that we can help out and be there for our neighbors left and right. So like Karl, I mean, I got a phone call yesterday about Larry from one of the board members. And so I was like, yeah, it's on my radar to go reach out to him. Maybe if I have to go buy him $15 worth of microwavable meals, so he's good for the week or whatever. But I think right now we have the ability to come together as a nation as a whole and to take care of each other. That's my personal take.
Because what's the opposite of that?
I mean, that's hate.
Individualism.
Yeah, but that's what we're being told to do right now, right? We're being told, stay to yourself. Don't get out.
The opposite of, like, for instance, our next door neighbors, Allie went and took some water, and I don't know, I think she just commented that, but some eggs, because we get farm fresh eggs, and we had more than we really truly needed. So she took some eggs over there next door, and they are extremely high risk. They are, I don't want to call them old, but they're older, and they're in the high risk category, and they have been locked up in their house, and they're deathly afraid. So, luckily their son came down, so they're helping out there. But the exact opposite, if we don't keep that mentality of what Zach said, and you're right, and that event changed the course of all of our lives forever. I wouldn't be the three of us would not be the people that we are today without, I would be a different human being. That completely changed my life. But you're right. After that situation, America put all of their bullshit aside, and they came together in not just physically, but in a mental state. They came together to support the nation. Well, if we don't do what Zach just did, the opposite of that is we completely rip the country apart. People start fighting for food and water and all kinds of stuff. And, we don't know how long this is going to go. It could be 2 weeks. It could be 4 months. It could be a year. Who knows? Who knows what this is going to turn into? But I do know that if we don't do like what Zach was talking about, then the opposite effect of that is devastation, complete devastation to ourselves and our fellow human beings. And that, to me, that's completely frightening. And the only way to combat that is with what Zach said, was coming together, ensuring that we are taking care, even if we can't physically help people, ensuring that we can in whatever ways that we can.
Yeah, I agree.
How do you guys feel after doing this video chat? I feel my spirits are lifted up just by seeing your bright, shiny, smiling faces.
There you go.
Bryce still has bedhead though.
We have,
Always.
and that's the thing. Like, aren't we thankful enough to live in a day and age that we have the ability to do this, even in this situation? Like, that's amazing. It's amazing. You think about this 20 years ago, it would be a completely different story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm excited to use Facebook and social media for things like this. And hopefully the more that we see of these things and other organizations that are trying to put out messages of hope and videos that help create positivity, I'd much rather see this than, memes about how to steal a Humvee, that's been parked. Like this is the part, this is not the time for us to be all hood ratty and everything, which I get, but I get both of them. Like, and I'm just like, really, is this the time that we're going to be this way? Our community. And
because things are going to get better, like they will get better. So like, it's going to be okay. We've gone through hard times. America's The world's gone through hard times, generations and generations and generations. And at some point, this will end. But what is it going to look like? How we choose to behave, how we choose to treat each other is going to dictate what it looks like after the fact.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
100%.
a couple of comments I want to jump over on that. There's on the sidebar on Facebook, there's a bunch of suggestions on things that you can do. So thank you folks for putting those out there. And Dakota just posted, he said something about love the video chat, needs to get a laptop set up better with Zoom. Hey, I think you can do Zoom on a tablet or a mobile phone as well. So you don't have to go to super big, expensive technology to be able to do it. There was some a minute ago. Now I've got senioritis and I'm trying to remember exactly where I was going to jump in and
I
say
just want to say
something.
one thing before you just to interject real quick, kind of to basically go off of what Bryce mentioned and what Nick mentioned as well. Yeah, yes, the intentionality seems like it's the general theme of this chat, right? Be intentional about your routine, about how you can help others and whatnot. And a big thing that Nick mentioned was the community. That's exactly what this country is. We're a big community, especially the veteran community. How many times have you been out and like, damn, like, hey, I haven't, you've been on patrol in Afghanistan, Iraq, wherever, or maybe Panama or anything like that. And you've been down on your last maybe canteen, last MRE or last whatever, but yet you still put your teammate, you put your squad mate, whatever, you put that attachment that's with you, you put them ahead of yourselves to make sure that they're taken care of. And when they are taken care of, you were taken care of in lieu of that as well. And I think that method and that concept is something that can be applicable to our given situation now, but not so much with just, being under fire, under contact, anything like that. But as far as just being Americans in your community, it's not hard to reach out. Hey, Sherry, do you need anything from the grocery store? You're older. Let me help you out. I can do this for you.
Hey, we got a couple minutes here. So we said we'd do this for an hour. We're going to come back and do this again tomorrow, but share some of the positive things that you see. What's coming out of this right now that's good. I mean, but one of the things for me is all my school assignments got pushed out. So I don't know exactly what the status of all of my classes are. Maybe I'll know here soon, but I'm also, let me reach back here, taking the opportunity to do some reading. I'm working on Vince Vargas's Light the Fuse book. So give a big shout out to Rocco. What about you guys? Tell me some positive stuff. What do you want to, let's end it on a positive note and talk about, yeah, go ahead.
My elbow is thankful that I am not climbing right now so it can heal. So
because you won't stop if you had to. Yeah.
I've got a hangboard in my garage, so I'm still, my fingers are still hurting.
I'm doing it with my right hand only at the hangboard. So the amount of mobility work I'm doing on my left wasn't competing with the amount that I was climbing. So my arm thanks myself.
I will say that you guys kind of know my routine and how busy we are. Allie and I finally have started to tune up our living situation, because I feel like we just kind of sleep at the house most of the time, and then we wake up and we're gone. So we were able to get our home gym squared away that it looks pristine. We washed the Jeep, so little things that we've been those chores that those honey-do lists that we've been putting off for, it's like, oh well, let's start knocking this stuff out. I don't have the same positive with school. School for me has continued. They don't give a shit about the coronavirus. But yeah, we're knocking out little those that normally probably wouldn't have been knocked out. And I think more podcasts and more of these things, I think those are big positives. Most people are wrapped up in their mundane task and they don't actually get to actually create or have these conversations. And I think that's a big positive out of it as well.
All right. So we're gonna finish it up. Zach, you have anything you want to throw out there?
Positive wise, I think I'm gonna go back just to that acronym KISS, keep it simple, stupid. I'm very happy for the fact that I can spend time with my daughter and do her schoolwork with her. And actually see what she's learning, not rather than just do, hey, you make sure you got, how many apples or whatever. I'm actually able to be there with her. I'm able to, like Nick said, do the little things. I don't have a Jeep, so I can't wash a Jeep. But at the same time, me and my daughter can get together and we can clean our living room together. So we're communicating and we're connecting on different levels there, but it's optimistic and it's positive. So despite, I mean, a lot of the negativity out there, we're in a positive mindset.
All right. So anybody watching this that wants to send us ideas or topics for discussion, you can send that to Bryce has his happy clown face on, or mad. I don't know. Anyway, send a message to the GallantFew Facebook page, and Allie will make sure that we get that, and then we can discuss some of that stuff tomorrow. So, gentlemen, thank you for being on the call today. Thanks for your continuing leadership with veterans, and go do your hangboard or something.
Everyone have a wonderful, positive day.
Farewell.
All right, guys, take care.
Bye all.
Bye.